and welcome to our webinar, Bringing Facility Management into the Digital Realm. Today we'll talk about RealCube Connect. I just want to give everyone a little bit of time until we gather together. I think some people are still joining. So let's give it a little bit of time until everyone is able to join in. Just before we start, probably I could go over a few of our housekeeping rules. Don't worry, you will be on mute for the remainder of the session, and it will be recorded. The session will be recorded so that those of you who were not able to join today can watch it later on demand. You are on mute and you will remain on mute, but if you have any questions or any technical concerns, don't worry, you can still contact us through the Q&A box, and we would be able to assist you if you have any issues with the sound or the video, or if you have any questions about the console, we will be happy to help you out with that. And just while we are gathering, I also want to mention that we have a request a demo button today for those of you who would like to have a personalized consultation about the product we mentioned today. So if you would like to request that, go ahead and hit the request a demo button. All right, so I think we are ready to start off today. So let me introduce you to our speakers. So my name is Jenny, and I will be your host today. I work closely with the RealCube team to address the needs of property management companies, change management and Marcom. He has in-depth knowledge of the industry and the digital transformation process, which he would happily share with you today. Shermis today is one of our best RealCube product specialists. She works closely with customers, sales teams, and engineers to ensure that our products meet customer expectations at all times. And finally, Subodh Subramani is our leading specialist with vast experience in solution architecture and implementation. What are we going to talk about today? In this webinar, we'll touch upon the evolution of facility management. Prithvi will talk about how facility management has changed over the years and the challenges that property management organizations face. Next, we will introduce RealCube Connect, and we will show you how it can help you streamline your facility management processes. After that, we will be having a demo of the product led by Subodh. And finally, we will have a Q&A session when we will address any of the questions you have during the webinar, and if you have any product-related questions as well. So let's get started. Prithvi, over to you.
Thank you, Jenny. A warm welcome to all the delegates who've started to arrive and all the participants already in the webinar as well. I'm going to start by giving you a context in terms of where facility management used to be and where it is headed and what kind of changes have happened in it. And along the way, I hope to give you some context in terms of the issues that the industry is facing and the kind of developments that are happening to address these issues as well. Today, facility management has come a long way. The whole term was first coined by Ross Perot in 1970. Back then, facility management, it just was about janitorial services maybe, and maybe a little maintenance here and there. Since those early days, the industry has come a long way today. And today, facility management encompasses a whole lot of other things as well, from, say, security at the start to right up to energy conservation and sustainability as well, which has become a very important concept today in terms of sustenance, in terms of eco-friendliness, and other such concerns that we have in today's world. So, since this entire evolution today, facility management is no longer simply about looking after buildings. It has now moved to a concept where we're looking at functionality, we're looking at ensuring comfort, we're looking at efficiency, and we're looking at safety. This is for the people, this is for the place, this is through processes enabled by technology. So technology is a very important component today, and we'll be talking a lot about what technology means to the industry, especially from a digital perspective. But with the advent of technology, the industry is starting to understand that it can actually perform and deliver services in a completely new and a completely efficient and optimized way. The traditional approach to facility management is being threatened and is being challenged by a lot of new developments. And COVID has given us a very interesting perspective in terms of how technology can be an enabler in times of crisis as well. So next we'll look at a few problems that the traditional approach to facility management is facing, because that will give us a context to why technology is going to be important going ahead. Typically speaking, right now, most facility managers look at the lack of visibility into facility management as an important concern, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Underneath are much more, there are much greater hidden concerns as well. Foremost among them is a problem in terms of the lack of service request management. In the traditional approach, you had setups like a call center wherein your customer or your end user would probably call up your call center operator, would register a complaint, and the call center operator would then have to pass that complaint on to your service team. In the service team, obviously, you also have another hierarchy where the facility manager is there. Facility manager then decides which facility technician to be using, and then the facility technician is delegated. Oftentimes, there is also duplication of services as well. So there is a lot of issues that are happening in terms of this, this bloated chain of command and this hierarchy that exists in the traditional perspective. And this used to work earlier when companies used to be smaller, and the facility ticket requests used to be smaller as well. So, but in today's time, this has completely changed because the ticket sizes and the kind of request sizes that are coming along are much, much larger, in the tens of thousands and sometimes even in the hundreds of thousands. This can no longer be sustainable in terms of an approach as well. This has also led to poor communication. The entire concept of Chinese whispers is applicable here, where sometimes through the entire process of the message being passed from the call center to the end user field technician, there is a lot of loss of information that might happen through the process. Sometimes the efforts might get duplicated. Sometimes the request might change completely as well. So this poor communication has a lot of implications, especially in terms of the rising cost of operations. Now, the most important impact that is going to happen here is the impact on SLAs. Especially, let us say if a turnaround time for every service request was set to half an hour, and the technician is taking on an average 45 minutes because it takes time for the request to be communicated to him, for him to understand what's happening, for him to then source the components and then go and actually do the field work. So SLAs are getting impacted. The other impact that is happening is also probably in terms of the maintenance, in terms of understanding and predicting maintenance. Sometimes components do not perform to their optimum level because they're not serviced on time. Additionally, you also have issues in terms of understanding the performance of your field technicians. So all these things put together are actually leading to a lot of increase in cost of operations as well. This has a lot of implications in terms of how competitive companies can remain in the market. Now, going ahead, I'm going to be talking about a very important perspective when it comes to maintenance itself, and how the perspective is shifting from a reactive approach to a more planned approach, which is where the whole industry is headed and why this approach is important as well. So as I was saying, the trend now is to move from a reactive mindset to a preventive mindset. And why is that? Because a preventive mindset can be planned. It can be planned for, it can be thought about in advance, and it allows a lot of other things to be done which allows for a lot of cost savings, which allows for a lot of process optimization as well. For example, with preventive maintenance, you're able to track the performance of components that are used across various different parts in buildings and operations, and you're able to understand, how to enhance the performance lifetime of these components. Because if you service these things on time, if you have a calendar where you say on a monthly basis, for example, you will go around checking light bulbs, you will go around checking water taps, you will go around checking pipes, you have the ability to predict in advance if something is going to fail. And that knowledge is going to empower you and your team in terms of both understanding when the component might fail and planning for it, as well as taking steps well in advance to prevent the failure as well. As they say, as the old saying goes, a stitch in time saves 9. Preventive maintenance is bringing a whole new perspective in terms of facility management, in terms of how you can plan for things. It also allows you, for example, to save on costs in terms of sourcing your components. Because if you can understand well in advance what components you need, you have the ability to purchase it in bulk, for example. You have the ability to draw up contracts that allow you to have, say, a discount on these components. As opposed to reactive maintenance, where it is a very ad hoc approach. You're simply always reacting to what is happening around you, and it is something that has a lot of cost overruns in terms of failure of your components, in terms of how efficient your technicians can be as well. So the industry is now shifting from a reactive mindset to a preventive mindset, and this is mainly happening because of the advent of technology. With technology, you are now able to understand without having to go and check every component in person all the time. You have analytics available to you. You have field information available to you at the tip of your fingers. All these are made available because of the power of digital technology. Earlier, you did not have these options, and which is why we had to take a reactive approach, which is still available, which is still there when, for example, an ad hoc complaint comes in, but you are now able to plan much better with using technology as well. So now we've talked about some of the issues. We've talked about where the industry is heading. Let us look at what kind of advantages technologies will be offering you. We talked about how preventive maintenance can become the norm for you. Now let's also look at one of the chief concerns, which was transparency and visibility for facility managers as well. Now, looking at this entire perspective, earlier there was no clear way or no easy way for managers to understand what was happening on the field. When the technicians went out to service a request, how much time the technicians took, what kind of components were used, was there any wastage that happened. None of these things were easily visible, and the process was very opaque as well, right? But now we have moved away from that perspective. Now we have the ability to monitor such things in real time, not simply get the data and have it in the system, but to understand what is happening in real time. With an application that is there on a phone, for example, using a platform like the RealCube Connect, your field technician can take photographs of the damaged component, can upload it into the app, and the manager in real time can understand what is happening. And if there's feedback that's needed, if there's collaboration that's needed, for example, the component that needs to be repaired, if a photograph of it is shared and a small point is made in terms of updating it, another field technician could come and could advise the field technician who's on site as to what needs to be done as well, which also leads to saving in time. It leads to better servicing of the request. It also allows you to meet your SLA requirements as well. This transparency and visibility also is available through, is also reflected in other areas as well. You are now able to better understand how long a component performs. You're able to understand the quality of components. You're able to understand from whom to source what, because, for example, your vendor A is giving you a light bulb that has 10,000 or 5,000 hours more than vendor B's light bulb. And all this is now available to you because the data is now being captured in the system, and the patterns are being studied by the system itself, which will allow you to then make intelligent decisions as well. So this visibility, this transparency is a very important key byproduct of adopting technology as well. Moving on, it also leads to a very, very important component of modern facility management, which is the customer being at the center of the service request satisfaction parameter. Today, the customer's satisfaction is the most important measurement of how successful your facility management operations are. And as a result, making sure that your customers' requests are serviced on time, they're serviced in terms of the quality that is required for the service request to be considered as complete, as well as then understanding how your customer feels about how you service the request. All these things are now easily available to you. They can be automated. They can be done at the click of a button, and they don't require a large hierarchy of people to actually manage the entire process. Today, between the customer and your technician, there are no layers. Your customer can directly interact with the technician, allowing for a very quick, very easy, and more accurate resolution of their issues as well. And once the issue has been resolved, you can always get in touch with your customer anonymously if required to understand how they feel about what you have done, so that you get an honest feedback from them. And this is very useful for you because you can use this to support your SLAs going forward, when your clients ask you if your SLAs have been met as well. And this also leads to a hassle-free service request environment where you don't have to, for example, have a 30 people call center taking in requests. You don't have to spend money on that. You don't have to spend time on that as well. Your technician now is empowered to immediately start addressing your customer's request, because as soon as, for example, the customer service request is registered on the app, the technician gets a notification on it. The technician can then check in the stock as well in terms of your inventory on the app itself and see if the components available, and immediately get down to servicing the request as well. So customer now is being empowered. The technicians are also now being empowered to ensure that customer satisfaction and customer happiness are dealt with on time and are dealt with satisfactorily. Finally, coming to why you need to consider this, despite all the other things that I've talked about as well, is the factor of time. Even as I talk, the industry is moving forward. Your customers are moving forward. Your vendors are moving forward. And it is very important for you not to be left behind. Most importantly, competition is also moving forward. Your competition is adopting digital technology. They are getting on to the bandwagon. They are improving their processes as well. And this is not a difficult thing to do. This is such an easy process. It's simply about the cloud. It's simply about being available on the internet. It's about using a smartphone. It's about using smart devices which are available everywhere to everyone today. So this is not a rocket science. This is not something you need to think too deeply about. This is going to be the norm going ahead. And it is very important that you as an organization start to adopt it and start to take this as an important consideration. And platforms like RealCube are here to stay. They are the future. Now, I would like to hand over the floor to Sharmi, who will now take you through a deeper perspective in terms of what the RealCube Connect platform is all about, and she'll contextualize everything that I have given you from a general perspective to a more specific understanding of the RealCube platform. Sharmi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Prithvi. To elaborate about RealCube, RealCube is a versatile property management solution with an integrated suite of applications to serve the needs of property managers as well as the residents of your properties. It is a cloud-based application that addresses the inefficiencies and challenges of property management, and it helps your business to control costs and minimize risks. By providing an easy, efficient, and sustainable way to manage your property by automating and simplifying the process. It also helps you to optimize your collections and improve upon customer satisfaction. As property managers, you are able to handle new and existing tenancy contracts for your properties and set up automatic reminders for contract renewals. The residents of the property are able to seamlessly interact with property managers for things like moving in and moving out, to access amenities, as well as placing requests for maintenance. All in all, it makes life easy for management, for the staff, as well as the residents of these properties. To talk about RealCube Connect, The most prominent features of RealCube Connect are the management and maintenance of the facilities. How do you do that? What allows you, the property manager, to keep track of all the tasks that need to be completed in the facilities within time and in an efficient manner. The property management inspection teams are able to carry out inspections, provide their reports, and assign work orders effortlessly to their team of technicians. This way, creating and tracking work orders are easy. You are also able to track the service level agreements and ensure your employees are working their allotted hours. From real-time performance monitoring, scheduling regular inspections to track the life cycle of assets, owners and tenants can be assured of better resource allocation and improved turnaround time. A leading facility management solution in the market, RealCube Connect gives you a comprehensive dashboard view of how your facilities are performing. For example, the Sustainability Hub feature lets you track and manage your facility's energy use, total waste consumption, and waste output. With these analytics in place, property managers are able to set goals for the future about these consumption patterns and compare their progress over time. The Employee Performance Rating System is a powerful tool to measure and improve employee productivity and give you insights about how the employees are performing, whether they are meeting their service level agreements, and gauge what changes are required in order to improve their efficiency. RealCube Connect also has this significant and powerful feature offering DLP capabilities for security and compliance. Your data security is of utmost importance to you, and with DLP, you can rest assured your data is protected from unauthorized access and use. Why is RealCube Connect the right solution? Because it enables seamless digital transformation. As property managers, you are able to get a complete view of your facilities and how they are performing. Our insightful reports and KPIs let you track your progress and ensure the employees are meeting their goals, and also identify areas of improvement. RealCube Connect is highly customizable and can be configured to meet your business requirements. Whether you're looking for a simple way to track your orders, or you have more complex requirements, RealCube can provide you with the right solution. Last but not the least, our mobile app gives your technicians the ability to track orders, clock in and clock out, and even work offline if needed. This ensures your facilities are managed efficiently and effectively. Thank you. I'm going to hand over to you, Subodh.
Thank you, Sharmi. Hello, everyone. I'll be taking you through the RealCube Connect and the technician applications to give you a journey of how things work on RealCube. To give you an overview of the demo scenario that we'll be looking at three personas mainly, one as a tenant and one as a technician who attends to a particular work order, and an FM manager who deals with assigning tasks to technicians and as well as tracking progress of work that's been done, and also maintains a register of all other reports. Some of the examples that we will see today is, let's say a tenant has moved in and they would like help installing some sort of feature in their unit. Then they can raise a request directly from the RealCube portal, and the request is directed to the FM team, where a technician responds to that particular request and does whatever is necessary and completes the job and takes it on the spot itself. So to introduce some of the personas that we will be using, we have the first persona that we'll be logging in as, which is a client. Then we will be logging in as the team leader or the lead technician first, and then as a technician. And then finally, we will be covering the FM manager. Without further ado, let me just dive right into I hope everyone's able to see my screen. So this is the RealCube tenant portal that we have, where tenants or even owners can use their unique login IDs to log into the portal and access a whole range of features, including raising maintenance requests or reporting issues. So let me quickly log in as a tenant. As soon as we log in, we are greeted by a dashboard which has a lot of information that is readily available for the client. But we're going to skip straight to the My Request section, under which we have a section called My Maintenance. So under Maintenance, we have different options, whereas if they have subscribed to a home maintenance package, then they have services that are readily available for them. And then we also have a section where it can be specified whether there are additional services that are being offered, which may be chargeable upon request. Now, raising a request is a very simple procedure on RealCube, where the tenant can choose what kind of request they would like to raise, whether it's related to plumbing, electrical work, anything related to their unit, or even related to cleaning and pest control. For today's example, we're going to take an electrical issue. So we're going to click on Book Now. And we have pop-up, which is simple enough for anyone to navigate to, where we basically just select the unit number that we would like to book this service in, the preferred date that we would like this service request to be addressed. So let's give today's date, which is the 19th, and the preferred time slot. So for example, depending on let's say I am the client, and depending on my availability and when I'm going to be home, I will choose a time slot which is conducive. So let's say we'll do it at 3 o'clock today. And if in case I am not available in the unit, then I can also specify some other person who will be available in the unit and give their name as well as contact number, and click on Book Now. Right. So once I do that, then I can keep track of the requests that I have raised through the My Services section, where I can go in and I can see that all the requests that I have raised, and I'll be able to see the status of it and also see whether it has been addressed or not. Now we switch to the application that the technicians or the team leaders will be using. Give me a second while I share my screen again. Yes, just a quick check. Prithvi or Jenny, are you able to see my screen and the application open?
Yes.
All right. So this is the mobile application that we have for team leaders or even technicians, where they will be using this to, again, log in using their unique ID. And this, as soon as they log in, it also captures their attendance. It gives them the whole overview of the tasks listed to them and what is the status. So let me first log in as a team leader. Right. So as soon as I log in, I'm greeted by a home page where all my tasks are categorized in 3 sections, which is PPM, which is planned preventive maintenance. And then there are reactive, which are maintenance requests that are being raised on the particular day or at a particular time. And then we have corrective tasks, which are kind of related to the reactive tasks in case there is some extra work that needs to be done. In the bottom, on top of the screen, we also have a search bar where if they know the work order ID or the name of the task, then they can directly go ahead and search for it and take actions against it. We also have a notifications section where they can go and see what has been assigned to them or what has come in newly and attend to that immediately. And we also have a filter section where they can filter their tasks based on when it was assigned, what is the status of it, whether it's overdue, in progress, or it's been canceled. You can also sort it by date, work order number, functional location, and created date. In the bottom of the screen, we have a plus icon where the team leader can use it to create a task themselves. Like we have integrations with the software where if some tenant requests a particular some sort of maintenance, then the task is automatically created and pushed to the mobile application, which cuts out a lot of work in between and also roles in between where the complaint has to be registered and then a work order has to be raised against it and then forwarded to the application. All of that is completely automated and done by the system itself. But in case, let's say a team leader is on site and someone comes to him and says, there is some, let's say there's a water leakage or something happening in the common area, then the team leader can create a task himself by clicking on the plus icon and choosing whether this is a corrective or a reactive task. They can, let's say for this example, we'll take it as a reactive. Then they can select functional location or unit. So functional locations usually have a code, so the team leaders are aware of it. So they just enter the code and they will be able to see a list of functional locations, select the particular functional location, then select the asset which is showing a default or that needs to be addressed, and then finally select a category under which this particular task comes under, give a title to it, and a service description as to what exactly needs to be done. We also have a new feature where we have a QR code option. So given that this is a mobile application and everyone will have devices on hand, if there are QR codes that are set up in areas or functional locations, then the team leader or even the technician can directly scan the QR code and create a task or start a task themselves. Now, going a little in detail as to what this page shows, we have PPM tasks that are categorized into groups. So for example, if I go into one particular group, I'll be able to see whether this is related to mechanical work, electrical work, or plumbing. And based on that, I will be able to assign it to a particular technician. So let's say I would like to allocate this task to a particular technician. All I have to do as a team leader is click on it. I'll be able to see the details of this particular task. And if required, I will need to upload some work permits. So there is an icon on the top right corner, which I can click and upload a general permit, upload a work at height permit or any other work permit, and save the work permits. And finally, I will be able to allocate this to a particular. So give me 1 second. Let me just upload something as the work permit. Save it, and I will now be able to assign this particular work to any kind of technician. So as a team leader, I will get a list of technicians that work under me, and under the name of the technician, their login ID is specified as well as what kind of technician they are. Like for example, the first one is an AC technician, the second one is an electrician, the third one is a painter. So I'll be able to see what kind of skill set they have and assign the task accordingly. And on the right side, we also have small icons which show them the list of tasks that are already under this particular technician, how many of them are in an open status, how many of them are in progress, and how many of them that they have closed. And finally, to just assign this to a particular technician, I click on that particular technician and click on the assign button on the top right corner. So it takes a minute, and then I will get a notification saying the request is successful. Similarly, we have reactive tasks, where we get a list of tasks that have been recently raised, and the assignment of these tasks are actually slightly simpler than the PPM tasks. All I have to do as a user is just swipe right, and I'll be able to get a list of technicians. I can choose who will address this particular issue and assign it directly to them. This is a feature that we have found out from our customer reviews that has been extremely helpful and cuts out a lot of time and makes things simpler for everyone. Similarly, we have corrective tasks, which can also be assigned to the technicians in the same way. All I have to do is swipe right, and I'll be able to assign this to a particular technician. Moving on, let's go on to the navigation tabs that we have on the bottom right corner. So first, we have the home section where we just went through a list of different kind of work orders. Then we have a checklist icon where the team leader gets a summary of the total number of jobs that have been assigned, what status most of them are in, and also they can scroll through and see the list of tasks that are under them as well from this particular screen. Then in the center, we have team information, so they'll be able to see who are all the team members that are working under them. Like we saw in the assigning window, we also have small icons which show them how many tasks that particular technician has been assigned to, what is the status of each and every task. And then we have a calendar view option where based on the particular date, they can see what all has been assigned to them on that day, or if there is something that is overdue, as you can see the second notification over here marked in red, then they can attend to it immediately, assign it to a particular technician and have it sorted as soon as possible. Finally, we have the profile tab where they have options to see what their login ID is, and if they require, they can change the password. And also we have the log. Let me quickly log out as the team lead and log in as a technician and see how they can respond to these requests. So I'm logging in as the technician to whom we just assigned a couple of tasks. So as you can see, immediately they get a list of tasks that have been assigned to them only. So reactive tasks are categorized first, and then if we scroll down, we'll be able to see the other PPM groups that were assigned to this particular technician as well. Similarly, we have the similar icons as the team leader had on the top right corner, which is the search function where they can search for a particular task directly and go to it. A notification section where they can see updates on what has been assigned to them, what they have done, what is the work that's done, and what has been updated back to the system. And they also have a filter option where they can filter by what has been assigned to them, what's overdue, what's in progress, what's been cancelled. They can also filter by work order number as well as functional location. So to give you an overview of how a technician can respond to a particular request, let's choose this one, which is AC not working, given that this one is Mohammed Amin we saw is an AC technician. So as soon as they click on the work order, they'll get different details such as the notification ID, what the work order number is, what is the status of this, if there is a particular priority assigned to this, then what it is, when they need to attend to this, what is the time slot, what kind of task it is, whether it's reactive, corrective, what the functional location is, and what the equipment ID is as well. Now, asset verification status, it shows is not verified because we have still not attended to this particular request. And then we also have customer information that is shown to the technician. And if they require any materials, then that is specified under the materials section. And before they start any work, they need to upload a before image that is also a confirmation that the technician has reached the functional location and he's starting the work and he's at the actual place. So let us just quickly upload a picture. Right, so once I click on attend, I will be able to specify whether I'm wearing any safety gears as a technician. Then once I click on next, we have an activity checklist where we will be able to see whether this particular asset is working properly, whether we pass or fail, or if this particular section is not applicable. And once we click on next, we have to upload an after image, basically the image the technician clicks after completing the job. If there are any comments, then they can enter the comments right here, and they can take a work completion signature on the spot from the client once they address the issue and capture their feedback on the spot as well. So once we click on finish, I will have to upload an image, but we have some issue with that. But basically, once I click finish, then the job is completed and the report is sent back to the team lead. On the bottom navigation, like we saw earlier, we have the QR code option where the technician can choose to scan the functional location QR code and start the task immediately. And then we also have a calendar view available for the technician to show you how the work is finished. Let's say they responded to this particular issue. Yeah. So once the checklist is completed, then they will have information and all the images that they have captured. If they've used any additional materials while attending to this particular request, then they can click on the add button and specify what particular item they've used and what is the quantity that they've used and upload that. And they have three options once the work is completed, two options, which is they can assign it back to the team lead if there is any follow-up that is required for this particular task, or they can click finish and they'll be able to close the task as well. This is something that I missed addressing. If you had seen when the technician actually responded to a particular issue, they also had an option which is no access. This is in case they reach the functional location and the person who has complained, let's say in this case is a unit that they have reached, and the tenant or the owner is not available in the unit and they're not able to get inside the unit, then they can click on the no access, which sends a notification back to the team leader, and they can correspond to the client and tell them that the technician reached, but there was no one available, and so that the appointment can be rescheduled and the issue can be fixed. So once we click on finish, it's done and the task is updated as complete. As a third navigation button, like we saw for the team leader, the technician themselves have a performance report that they can see, where they can see the total number of jobs that have been assigned to them, how many of them are in what status, and what they need to address immediately. Finally, we again have the profile page where they'll be able to see their login ID, change their password if required, and also the option to log out of the application. Let me quickly log out as the technician, and in the remaining time, I would like to take you through the FM manager log. Right. Coming to the FM manager, we have an admin login available in the RealCube portal. So earlier we logged in as a tenant. This time we'll be logging in as an administrator. So as soon as we log in as an administrator, we will be greeted by the report and issue tab, where they will be able to see different issues that have been reported from the common area, and we can see who it's been requested by, what community it's come under, what is the status of this particular request, and if I need to respond to this as an administrator, I can click on the action button here, and I'll be able to go and see the details of this particular request, and also change the status of this particular request to something that if there is an update. In case that hasn't been addressed by the facilities management team, then I also have the option to forward this particular service request to the team so that they are updated about the things. Attend to that as soon as possible. To expand on the different options that we have, RealCube Connect has a multitude of menus that are available to the manager, where we have a dashboard which shows them the maintenance summary. So the maintenance summary, let's say we want to see the status for all the tasks from give a wider date range. And we can also search by notification number here, and keep in mind that these are all categorized again as PPM, reactive, corrective, and any other statutory maintenance tasks. So for example, the same search bar is available under each of these menus. So once we specify a date range and click on go, we get a whole list of tasks that were carried through that date range, and also they are categorized into different pages because we have 10 values that are shown in the list immediately. And we can see all the details regarding to this, what the notification number is, ascent number, task type, title, priority, location, when it was created, the planned response date and when it was resolved, and when it was completed, and the status of this. Now, as a manager, I can also update it myself. So where I can click on the action button, I can go and update before and after images, and also have an option to download this particular report. Or if there is something that still needs to be done as a manager, I can also create a reactive task directly from the portal as well. The next one that we have is a sitemap. Basically, this is a new feature that we have introduced where the team leader, based on the location that they are in, they can get a sitemap, and we have a color-coded option where they can see what are the most frequent workplace requests, which are categorized as purple, and the light pink version is the areas that have the most hot or cold issues, and then what is the customer satisfaction with the workplace. So it basically gives a very nice detailed graphical representation of a lot of things in a single view. They can also hover over the dots and see how many, the areas and what exactly it corresponds. We also have a section where they can keep track of management inspections. what are all the inspections that are going on, and take actions against it. As a manager, I can also see my schedule and what has been scheduled to me, and I can go ahead and from the portal, I can directly click on Start Inspection and go ahead with doing the inspection of what has been assigned to me. So let's say I click on Start Inspection, I'll be greeted by a checklist where I will go through individual sections and give my answers whether this is working, not working, or if this is not applicable in this particular section. And I also have an option to add a note or include pictures of what I'm checking and complete the inspection as well. Next, we would like to go to team performance report. Like Prithvi and Sharmi specified earlier, we'll be able to see the performance of different teams in graphical representation, and we can also filter the results by the kind of user that we would like to filter by. Next, we would like to go to incident report. So we also have a very nice graphical representation of this, where they'll be able to see how many incidents that have been reported, how many of them were accidents, how many of them were near misses. For example, something was about to happen, but because of planned preventive maintenance, we were able to address it in time and make sure there was no incident. And also other categories that can be a wide range of things that happen within the community. Scrolling down, I have a graphical representation of the incident reports month by month, where we can see in which month we had the most number of incidents and where we had absolutely no incidents, which we can treat as good ones. Going down, we have a list of different incidents that were reported, what exactly the category is, what is the subcategory of it is, and what is the status. Now, the status automatically gets updated by the system as the facility management team address it. Or also as a manager, I can take actions against this and go and update the status like that. Then we have device or user management, where we can see what devices are managed, allocated to which user, what kind of user they are, whether they're a technician or a team leader, what is their skill set, whether they're basically what their skills are, and what type of services that they usually respond to, whether they are soft services or hard services, and different kinds of transaction types that they have. Now, this is a demo option that we have, but it can also be customized to specify whatever terminology that is used in your company or in your locations. And we can see whether this particular device has been approved. This user has been approved, and also go ahead and edit details of this user if required. Like, for example, let's say this technician quits his job and there's another technician who's come in and they're using the same device, then those details can be edited and that device can be assigned to the new technician as well. Then under devices, we have a list of devices that are there in that particular community, and we can see what type of user it is used by, and also what is the service type that they respond to using this particular device and transaction type. Going ahead, something that we would like to stress on is the SLAs and KPIs. So we have a template builder, which I would like to stress upon first, where the user can go ahead and create different templates for their SLA and KPI tracking. So we have two options, which is create a KPI template and create an SLA template. So once we click on this, we are greeted by template builder, where we can enter any kind of questions that we would like to assess, and also assign a type code to that particular question, what exactly the question is, and whether it's an yes or no question, or what kind of response we would like to capture for this particular template. And once we do that, we save it. So once the template has been set and the questionnaire has been answered by the users, then the report is automatically generated by the system, and the manager can just directly click on the report, and they will be able to download a PDF copy of the report, and they'll be able to view it in their system, and also use this for any kind of paperwork, where they'll be able to see what was the measurement type, the frequency of assessment, and what the premise is, whether it's passed, it's failed, what is passed, what is the percentage of it, and what is the score against that particular asset. Similarly, we have a KPI history, and we also have a to-do template that can be created using the portal itself. Now, as an FM manager, I might be needing to upload certain documents for the users, or it may even be for the for any other person within the facility management team. So I can just go to the FM activity document. I can see the uploaded documents that I've already uploaded over time, and I can also go and upload a new document as well as include PMS reports, NCR documents, and KPI reports within this section. Finally, what we would like to touch upon is the FM attendance. So like we mentioned earlier, we'll be able to track attendance using the mobile application as well as the portal. So let's say we give a date range and we would like to check the attendance for all kinds of users. So we give a wide date range here as well. And we'll be able to see the attendance report. And we also have an option to download this and save a PDF version of this attendance report as well. That is a brief overview of what RealCube Connect can do. Of course, we have a lot of other features that we haven't addressed, which are also available as part of the suite. And depending on your requirement, we can see what works best for you, and also possibly give you a customized demo, taking your scenario into perspective and giving you a more detailed, personalized demo as well. Thank you very much for your time. Back to you, Jenny, for the question and answers.
Thank you, Subodh, for this fantastic and detailed demonstration. As I sort through your questions that keep on coming, I just wanted to apologize for the background noise disruption that we experienced for a few minutes. Please excuse us, as COVID has not exactly vanished yet. And some of us are working from home, taking care of loved ones. I hope you understand and forgive us the disturbance. Now on to the questions from you. From the audience, we have a question from Hashem. So he's asking a very interesting question that we get to see quite often, in fact. The question is, my facility management assets and inventory are managed in other ERP systems. So can RealCube Connect integrate with those? We do not have information about which specific ERP Hashem is working with, but Subodh, are you able to address this one?
Yes, Jenny, can you hear me?
Yes.
So as part of RealCube Connect, it can seamlessly integrate with multiple ERP systems. To quote some examples, it seamlessly integrates with SAP, Oracle, and D365. We also have integration that is possible with other ERP systems as well.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, our next question today is from Jennifer. And she is asking us what are the mobile applications available with the RealCube Connect. Now, we mentioned a few. So Subodh, can you clarify this a little bit for Jennifer?
Yeah, sure, Jenny. So as part of connecting everyone to under one portal or bringing all users together, we have a multitude of applications that are available to different users. So we definitely have a technician and an FM team app, which is basically the same app. Depending on the login, they'll be able to access different features. We also have an application for the FM manager. What we saw on the portal today, we also do have a mobile application for that. And on top of that, we definitely have a customer experience app where, again, what we saw as a portal today on the web, we also have a similar application which the tenants or owners can use to log their complaints and also to track status of things, along with a lot of other features such as following up on their payments, and also raising other service requests other than maintenance requests, and also managing different things across the community, like their amenities, or even if there are any classes or something that they've, let's say, enrolled to, then keeping a track of that. All of that is available in the RealCube app as well.
Okay, so that affords for easy access to any sort of community information as well. All right, so we have also another interesting question from Mohammed. He's asking us how to ensure that the safety guidelines are adhered to while the facility management work is carried out.
Yeah, so at one point in the demo, we did see that we went through a safety checklist. In the demo version, of course, we only have one entry there, but depending on the kind of work that is assigned to them and the nature of the job, then we have pre-installed checklists that can be enabled, and the technician will have to answer them. We also have an option in the app where they will need to upload a picture of them wearing the particular safety equipment. So we do address these security concerns quite seriously. And of course, we have a whole list of prerequisites that we have for different kinds of tasks, but they are also customizable, and depending on what is being used on site, we can customize them and make it relevant to the client as well.
Okay, that sounds great. We actually did have a question, which I believe you just answered, which was if the security, procedures can be customized. So yes, that is the answer. We can absolutely customize them. Then we have a question coming from Raj, who is asking us about the SLA tracking and the KPI of the contractors. Can you explain a little bit more about what the functionality is there, in terms of tracking the SLA?
Sure, Jenny. So basically, RealCube Connect allows for the SLAs and KPIs to be configured, and also the contract terms to be tracked. So based on these parameters that we set, then the work orders completed and the performance reports of the technicians or even the team leaders for the FM service that has been carried out, and a whole bunch of reports like we went through, like the attendance report or even the tracking of if everything is happening properly. All the kinds of reports that we saw can be generated using RealCube as well. So on the overall, the simple answer is yes, we can do that. And like I said, the SLAs and KPIs can be configured to the contract terms that have been mentioned. I don't think we went through it in detail, but there was another menu, if you noticed on the sidebar, which said FM contract, where we can also create those FM contracts and specify these terms in that section.
Okay. All right, that is certainly something that, if Raj has more interest in, feel free to hit the request a demo button, where we could arrange a customized session with you where we address all of your concerns. Okay, and I think we have a little bit more time left. I will address just one more question, and then the rest we will just connect with you privately if we have not already, and address that. So the last question would be, where is the product hosted? Are there any options on that?
Yeah, so the product can both be hosted on premises, and we also have SaaS offerings as well. But depending on the needs of the customers, we will have to estimate that. But we do have both the options where it can be done on premises and as a SaaS implementation.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for the detailed answers, Subodh. As I mentioned, if we have not been able to address any of your questions, just feel free to, look at your mailbox. We will definitely reach out to you. And that was everything from us for today. I hope you enjoyed this webinar, and please feel free to share your feedback. For those of you who were not able to attend, we will of course share a copy of the recording, and I wish you a lovely day.